So if I'm going to steer you in that direction and you're going to write down what's in the book, I'm going to show you both ways. Sometimes one way works better for others. Today's lesson in Chapter 4, Lesson 5, we're adding and subtracting mixed numbers. The only difference is from yesterday's lesson is that we're adding a whole number with it. Okay? When you're adding mixed numbers, you still have to find a what?
Common denominator.
Am I going to let you go writing it across?
No.
No, I'm going to make you write it
Up and down.
So it says, use the expression 4 5/6 minus 3 2/3 to find how much longer the adult hockey stick is than the junior hockey stick. Can you, scroll up? Here, they give it to you going across. Put an X in that. We are going to write it up and down. So off to the side, whether it's to the left or to the right, you're going to write it up and down. So I have 4 5/6 minus 3 2/3. It's the exact same as yesterday. Adding and subtracting unlike fractions. Find a common denominator. What's my common denominator going to be? 6. So I leave it at 5/6 here. I show that I'm multiplying this by 2 over 2, which I get 4/6. So then I just subtract. 5 minus 4 is
1.
and 1, and that's their denominator is 6, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 and 1/6 is your final answer.
Good job.
Not much more difficult than yesterday
Hey, yeah.
so far. Looking at number 2. Explain how to find 3 7/10 minus 2 2/5. Then use your conjuncture to find the difference. What in the world is conjuncture? I'll get to that in just a second. What I want you to do is just come off to the side or even on these lines and do real quick 3 7/10 minus 2 2/5. Are you writing them up and down?
Yes.
If you're not, you better redo it. I have never once shown you to write it going across. I will never allow it going across. It will always be up and down, adding and subtracting fractions. Whether they're simple fractions or mixed numbers or improper fractions, it doesn't matter. They're always up and down. That's why I'm writing it in on the board. So what's my common denominator?
10.
So this can just stay 7/10. This shows 2 times 2, which is 4/10. So now can I take 7 minus 4? 3 tenths, and then 3 minus 2 is?
1.
When it says, so how many of you got 1 3/10? Excellent, you're off to a good start. But it says, then use your conjecture to find the difference. What it just means is tell me how you did it. So the first thing you did was write it up and down. Then you found a common denominator.
And then solved it.
When you solve it, what do you do first? Your fractional part or your whole part?
Fractional.
So then you subtract fractions, then the whole. We don't need to write all that down. Okay, we just did it. Go ahead and turn the page. So on the top of the next page, it says to add or subtract mixed numbers, first add and or subtract the fractions if necessary. Rename them using the LCD. LCD.
Least common denominator.
Least common denominator. Many of you during today's assignment didn't use the least common denominator. You found a common denominator, but then realized, oh, now at the end I have to do a lot of reducing or simplifying. So if you try to find your least common denominator, it'll stop you from having to do all that.
At least they wrote it up and down.
Sometimes when you subtract mixed numbers, the fraction in the first mixed number is less than the fraction in the second mixed number. In this case, rename one or both fractions in order to subtract. Okay, I will get to this part in a minute, okay? So, our first example, look, how did they write it?
Up and down.
Hey, they're starting to get a little bit smarter, right? They're starting to take my approach.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they have the common denominator, so I just do 4 plus 2 is 6, keep it over 9, and then 7 plus 10 is 17.
And then read
What didn't they show here, though?
They
The
didn't read.
reduction.
They didn't show how they reduced or how they simplified. Make sure you're showing that. What would they divide 6 and 9 by?
Two.
Not 3.
3.
So you need to know what it's going to be divided by. Okay, let's go on to our next example. 8 and 5/6 minus 2 and 1/3. Hey, look here.
Up and down.
Hey, not so bad. I'm not so crazy, am I?
No.
So then 5 minus 2 is 3. Keep it over the same denominator. 8 minus 2 is 6.
They didn't show how they did.
Reducing the 3/6. If you can see that that is 1/2, you can just rewrite it as 6 and 1/2. Because at this point, you guys should be able to see when a fraction is equivalent to a half. Alright, so let's do some problems together. But we're not even going to do A, because they already have a common denominator. We don't need practice on that. So let's get with B. Now, hold on a second. I'm going to stop you guys. You guys are going to work against me. You guys are going to do it and I'm going to do it. If you find that I made a mistake, I will do 10 push-ups. If you don't find the mistake, I don't have to do push-ups.
Okay.
Do we have to do the push-ups?
Can we do the push-ups?
Yeah, make
Alright,
us do
ready?
the push-ups.
Go on to B.
Okay.
Can we do it?
Yes, you do. And why am I rewriting it over here?
Up and down.
Because I need to get it up and down. When you're done, stand up. When you're done with the problem, put your pencil down and stand up. I'm going to give some of you a chance to get started because I don't need people copying my problem. Okay. When you stand, your mouth doesn't start moving. I'm going to start doing my problem. There's a reason why you can't say. All right, I'm ready to reveal my answer. You guys are standing. I'll talk you through it. I have 5 and 1/5 plus 2 and 3/10. So I'm stop talking if I'm talking. So if I have 1/5, I can multiply by 2 over 2 and I get 2/10. 3/10 just stays 3/10, so I write it over there. I'm adding, so 2 plus 3 is 5. And I keep the denominator. 5 plus 2 is 7. But then at the end, I need to reduce by 5. Or I can look and see 5/10 is going to be 1/2. So I got 7.5. If you got it correct, have a seat.
Oh.
Those of you that did not get it correct, have you found your mistake?
Yes, I did not.
Voice. Okay, I got you.
Okay, everybody have a seat.
Wait,
I'm
you-
still in the clear.
You didn't make a mistake.
Ah, yeah, I know.
Oh!
That means no push-up yet.
I thought you were gonna make one on purpose and
Yes,
what?
and 5/9 plus 4 and 1/6. We're doing C. Find a space in your book to write it up and down.
when he just forgot to reduce.
Okay, never mind.
Ava, bring your book.
Huh? Where's your work?
Oh, take a look at the board. Whoa, I see some hands, what's going on? What's up, Chance?
You didn't use the least common denominator.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
It's 18.
What should be the least common denominator?
I forgot to
Eighteen
Yes.
should have been the least common denominator, so, hey, I'm recording. Stop talking if I'm talking. Thank you. And especially when you're right there. So when people are at home are trying to watch this, they can't hear. So if I have 9 and 6, I do 9, 18, 27, 6, 12, 18. If I would have done it the correct way to find the least common denominator, I would have known, hey, I don't just take 9 times 6. However, I did take 9 times 6 to get 54.
We have to reduce.
And then at the end, I needed to make sure I reduced it. How many of you got 5 and 13 18ths?
Gotta reduce.
That is the correct answer because it needed to be reduced. But I should have used 18. So sit down if you got it right. Okay. Did you find your mistakes?
Yeah,
I didn't even
Okay.
reduce.
That's
got-
a huge problem.
I got
All right,
10 and
I'm gonna do my
19.
10 push-ups because I didn't use the least common denominator, and you're gonna get started on D. 5 and 4/5 minus 1 and 3/10. Go ahead and get started. And I do them right, trust me.
Oh, wow.
She does them better than me. That's pretty sad.
Okay, I'm done with my 10.
Wow, good job.
If you're done, stand up. When you're done with the problem, stand up.
Calm down, Jamal.
If you're standing, we're standing in my walking.
Oh, it's subtraction.
Okay, let's see here. I have, let me see if I can do this right without having to do push-ups. I know my common denominator is going to be 10 because this is a pretty easy one. So times it by 2 over 2, so I get 8/10. And this just stays 3/10. 8 minus 3 is
5.
5/10. 5 minus 1 is 4.
4.
I'm not gonna leave it like that because I don't wanna do push-ups. I'm gonna reduce by 5 and I get 1/2. So my answer is 4 and 1/2.
4. Oh, it's subtraction.
Sit down if you got it right.
I didn't get the 4.
Thank you.
You're finding your mistakes. If you're finding your mistakes, that's awesome. E. Let's go. Move on to E.
I'm running out of room.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, it is.
And then I'm just subtracting, 7 minus 6 is 1. 13 minus 9 is 4. Don't tell me the answer. Did I get it right?
Yes.
If you got it right, sit down. Okay, so we either all got it wrong or we all got it right. No, we all got it right.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to skip F, and we're going to go on to the next page.
She just doesn't want to do more push-ups.
Oh, you never know, I might have to. We all make mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're all learning from our mistakes. What I learned is I better slow down. Here is where we're going to get into things that are a lot more difficult. And we worked on this a little bit with our bell work. When we're having mixed numbers, sometimes you have to borrow. This is going to take a lot of room in your book, okay? Because you're going to be writing 2 problems for each one of these. You need to write small enough that you can get both in. I don't care where you really put it, but you have to put both problems together, okay? So and I don't want you to worry about looking at these diagrams, okay? Because when you guys start to do this later on, you're not going to get a diagram, okay? So I'm going to show you just 2 ways that you can do it. If I find 2 1/3 minus 1 2/3, I have, and you guys should be writing this up and down, a common denominator. So do I have to find a common denominator first? No, that's done. But I want to think in my head, is 2 1/3 greater than 1 2/3?
Oh.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
I have a 2 whole. Is it 2 bigger than 1? Okay, you're looking at maybe just the fraction.
Yeah.
When I first think about that, I have to think about the whole number, all of it together. Does that make sense? Okay, so when I think of it all together, I know that 2 1/3 is bigger than 1 2/3. Okay? Then I look here, 1/3 minus 2/3. I cannot do that. Okay? And I cannot make it a negative number because this one is bigger than 1. So what I can do is I'm going to show you the first way that they did it in the book. What I can do is just automatically make both of these a improper fraction. Okay? So if I have 2 1/3, I take 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So I have 7/3. And then 1 times 3 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5/3. Can I subtract 7/3 minus 5/3?
Yes.
And that becomes 2/3. So that's type number 1. Everybody should be writing down type number 1. You're writing down both ways. The second way I'm going to show you is the way that I prefer to do it, and I'll show you why after bed. So I'm going to start with the same problem, and you're going to write it right next to it, guys. 2 1/3 minus 1 2/3. It is kind of like this, but I'm showing you step by step on how to get it. What you're going to do, I cannot take 1/3 minus 2/3. Only because this is a bigger number. What you do is you borrow, and this is what we talked about in our bell work. The 2 becomes a 1, because I'm only going to borrow 1 whole. When I borrow 1 whole, I have to write that as a fraction. The denominator has to be 3. So what does the numerator have to be?
3.
3, because that equals 1. Box that up together. So 1/3 plus 3/3 is actually, now I can take 4 minus 2, which is 2, and it stays thirds, and 1 minus 1 is nothing. Those are 2 ways you can do it. Let's go, keep getting it written down, get it all written down both ways. Do you see why writing it up and down makes it a lot easier when you get into this method that you want to borrow? Because you have to think, okay, that whole number, that whole mixed number is bigger than the bottom one. As long as the top one is bigger than the bottom, you're never going to have a negative number. Even if the fractions is smaller on top than on the bottom. You have to think of the the number all together. You wanna go ahead and. So we have a bunch of examples to do together here. Do you guys have room like here maybe? Maybe
On the other
little-
side.
If it's on the other side, I don't care. You're gonna have to get 2 problems in.
Okay.
I don't care even if it's, like even in here, it doesn't matter, but I want you to put 2 problems together. So we're gonna do G. So we have 7 minus 1 and 1/2. We're gonna do it the first way in the book where they say, change them to improper fractions. If my denominator is 7 on the second fraction, my denominator has, or it's not, sorry, not 7. If my denominator is 2, it has to stay 2. So what number would I put on top to get a whole number of 7?
2.
No, you would take 7 times 2, which would be
14.
And see, you guys already made a mistake because you guys didn't know how to do that. Yeah, I'm just telling you, this is where mistakes happen this way. Some of you are looking at, how do I get 14 over 2? 14 divided by 2 is 7. And then I just keep 1 minus 1/2. Then 14, or actually, I said I was making them both improper fractions. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 makes 3/2. Then 14 minus 3 is 11/2, which then is 5 and 1/2. Right this way. And then I'm gonna give you the second way. Second way, we start by writing it up and down. 7 minus 1 and 1/2. And I take 1/2 away from nothing. No, so I borrow. The 7 becomes a 6, and this becomes 2 over 2, because 2 over 2 is just that 1 that I borrowed. And then 2 minus 1 is 1/2, and then 6 minus 1 is 5.
That was easy.
My opinion, I like
That way better.
step type 2. I'm gonna show you, it wasn't that much more work on the first one than this one, but we're gonna get to one where it is a lot more work. And this is the last one that you have to write both in your book, okay? We're gonna go on to H. Find room. Start writing it up and down. Start writing H up and down somewhere in your book. It's 5 3/8 minus 4 11/12. All you have to do is start by writing it. 5 3/8 minus 4 11/12. Let's start by doing it the way they do it in the book and make them improper fractions. I have to do 5 times 8 is what? 40 plus 3 is, so 43/8. 4 times 12 is 48 plus 11, 59/12. Now I have to find a common denominator. What's my common denominator of 8 and 12?
24. No.
24. I can't count by 8s to get to 12.
24.
Has to be 24. So then 8 times 3 is 24, and 43 times 3. I don't know 43 times 3, so I've got to write it up and down. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is
12.
So I got 129 24ths. Had to take this times 2 over 2. Again, I don't know that. What's 59 times 2? I don't want to make a mistake. 18, 10, 11. So now I have 118. Now I can take 129 minus 118, and I get 11 24ths. Did I have to show a lot of work and do a lot of work on this problem?
Yeah.
I did, because I didn't want to make a mistake. I didn't know 43 times 3 in my head. I didn't know 59 times 2 in my head. I actually had to do some work. Let's do it my way, the second way. I'm gonna get rid of all that. 5 3/8 minus 4 11/12. First, find a common denominator. What's my common denominator?
24.
24, so I take this times 3. Everything so far I can do in my head. 9 24ths. Take this times 2. 22 24ths. Okay. Can I take 9 minus 22?
No, you cannot. You gotta
No. So I
borrow.
borrow. The 5 becomes a
4.
4. What am I going to add? It has to equal 1 whole. The denominator has to be 24, so the
24.
numerator has to be
24.
24. Put a box around that. What's 24 plus 9?
33.
33. So I have 33 24ths. Then 33 minus 22 is 11 24ths. I got the exact same answer, but did I have to do a lot of other work?
Not
No.
much.
Not much, did I?
Nope.
You can, right now, you can choose on this next one. I'm gonna let you choose on this next one. You choose step type A or part 1, whatever, and changing them both to improper fractions, or you can use type 2, which is when you borrow. I want everybody to try I. Go ahead and try I. Find some room. I don't care where the room is at. Find room. Do we already have a common denominator?
Yes.
That saves us time. Can I take 2 minus 3?
No.
No.
Big- 11 and 2/5 is greater than 2 and 3/5, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to
Borrow.
borrow. The 11 becomes a
10.
10, and I'm going to add
5/5.
5/5. Box it up. So you know they go together. And 2/5 plus 5/5 is,
7/5.
so then 7/5 minus 3/5 is
4/5.
4/5, and 10 minus 2 is,
8.
can I reduce anything?
No.
How many of you, raise your hand if you got 8 4/5? How many of you are getting there but just didn't have enough time? Okay, just finish filling it out. Let's go on to J. Again, you can pick your way. Choose the way you want to solve it. But when I go over it, you do need to write down if you didn't use it my way and make the corrections. As they walk around, a lot of you are using my way. And I just heard it's easier. A lot of you have had a nice job looking at your books. You've got a lot of information in a short amount of time. All right. If you're not done, that's okay. I'm gonna do it my way, which is the second way, and I'm going to borrow. Because I cannot take 3/4 away from nothing. But 8 is greater than 3 3/4, so I can borrow. So the 8 becomes a 7. What's my fraction that equals 1?
4/4.
So 4/4. So 4/4 minus 3/4 is
1/4.
1/4, and 7 minus 3 is, and I'm done. How many of you got it right?
I was on the right
Okay.
for the borrow.
I'm gonna be distinct. I'm sorry?
I said I got, for the borrowing part, I was on the right track. I was
Good.
on the right track.
Now, I'm gonna show you, if you didn't get it, write it down, copy, copy, copy. If I did it as an improper fraction way, 8 minus 3 3/4, I have to change this 8 to have a denominator of 4. So it's 8 times 4.
32.
So it'd be 32 over 4 minus 3 times 4 is 12 plus 3 is
15.
15/4. So then I have 32 minus 15 I get 17, I have 17 fourths, which the 4 goes into 17 4 times with 1 left over. The part where some people might make the mistake is changing the whole number 8. I did 8 times 4, which is 32. Because 32 divided by 4 is 8.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do K. It's 3 1/4 minus 1 3/4. Kinda nice, I already have a common denominator, don't I?
Yeah.
So I don't have to do step 1, so I take 3 1/4 minus 3/4. Can I do 1 minus 3? No, because this is a whole much bigger number, so the 3 becomes a
2.
2, you gotta borrow one.
Plus
And then when I
4/4.
borrow the 1, I'm making it a whole number, right?
Yeah.
Whole 1 as a fraction,
5/4.
which is 5/4.
2/4.
So then 5 minus 3 is
2.
2/4. 2 minus 1 is 1.
1 and 1/2.
Am I done?
No.
Reduce.
Reduce
1 and 1/2.
by 2. And I get 1 and
1/2.
1/2.
I was like, got that right.
How many you got it right? Excellent. If you didn't, you're finding your mistakes. Go on to the last one for today. Find as much room as you can to get that last one in there. How many of you are using the borrowing method? How many of you like to make it an improper fraction? Okay. So I cannot take 5/6 away from nothing, so the 16 becomes a 15. And what's my fraction?
6.
6, 6. 6
6.
minus 5 is 1, 6. 15 minus 5 is 10. Your answer should be 10 and 1/6. If I did it the other way, which is making it an improper fraction, which a few of you are still trying to do. Again, you can do it that way, but it's a lot harder. The denominator has to be a what? It has to be a 6.
Oh, yeah.
So 16 times 6, I don't know that. I have to do that off to the side. So that would be, so 96, 6. And then 5 times 6 is 30, plus 5 makes 35, 6. See how I had to do that? And then that becomes 61, 6. Then I know 6 goes into 61 10 times with 1 left over. It takes more thinking, I think, to do the improper fraction. Okay?